Some tweets by Foreign Secretary David Lammy have been uncovered that suggest a deep dislike of Republican...
We are having a discussion about whether or not David Lammy should be sacked or resign in light of his previous comments about President Trump.
She was so blissful, she was so sweet, and then she turned into an absolute narcissistic monster.
She took these girls and she convinced them to do whatever she wanted them to do.
All right. Ladies and gents, it is episode 295 of Abe Thompson and Other Disappointments, your twice-weekly delve into, dance around the chaos, disorder, awfulness, excuse me, and more awfulness that is currently trying to pass itself off as the modern world. Cheers! Big shouts out to the Patreons out there, guys. What's going on? How you doing? Look at these beautiful bitches and bastards and bintfluencers and boodsters right here. They support the show. They support the YouTube content. You give my funny bone a funny boner, guys. Is what you do. Actually, should I promote the should we talk about the Patreon? We'll talk about the Patreon like towards the end of the show. Let's just get straight into it, shall we? This week, what's going on out there? What's happened since Friday, guys? What is the happy haps out there? What's happened since this weekend in politics land? We had the attempted assassination of Donald Trump, obviously. We've had the resignation of Gareth Southgate. It's not really politics, is it? But it's, it's a big story in the news at the moment. We had that Welsh guy has just stood down. I think that happened this morning. This is Tuesday, by the way, at time of recording. Shannon Doherty died of a brain tumour. And a Hollywood madam / sex trafficker has been jailed for 8 years. Guys, so there's many careers there are being brought to a devastating halt over the last few days. I mean, you look at these stories, don't you, and you think, wow. She had so much more to give. She, I mean Shannon Doherty, right? I don't mean the Hollywood madam. I mean Shannon Doherty is a lost talent. The Hollywood madam, I don't know. I truly don't know. I mean, maybe she also was a huge talent. Maybe she possessed great skill also. Maybe before she got jailed, she was just about to release the first classic post-grunge alternative rock album of the 21st century. Maybe that was about to happen. And now it's all gone, isn't it? It's all abandoned. The record label don't want anything to do with her. And that music will never be heard. That is the real tragedy of that story, isn't it, guys? Think of the music we could have had. The music we lost from this weird woman enslaving whore queen is basically what she was. I don't know if you've heard about this story yet. Probably not, given the amplification of all of the other stories that are taking place at the moment. But this is a story. It's a story about a lady called Cat Torres. Okay? Cat Torres. She's a former Brazilian model. She used to party with Leonardo DiCaprio, apparently. Presumably until she turned 25, and then it was straight into the DiCaprio ward of the Cedarwood retirement home. That's where they usher them off to on their 25th birthday. I'm sorry, that probably sounds a little bit ageist. I mean, I'm mocking his ageism, his sexism, right? You understand that? I like the idea that there is a ward in a retirement home funded by him, like in his honour. And it's just dorm after dorm of 30-year-old women playing bingo with one another, exchanging stories about the time that Salma Hayek turned up and rapped with Snoop Dogg or something, you know. Anyway, Cat Torres, so says The Independent. It says, Cat Torres is an Instagram influencer who has now been jailed for sex trafficking and slavery, guys, for 8 years, no less. It's not nothing. That's a, pretty solid sentence, isn't it? 8 years in jail. Let's get into it, shall we? Let's read more about this. It says, an Instagram influencer and former Brazilian model who went from living in poverty to partying with Leonardo DiCaprio has been sentenced to 8 years in prison for human trafficking and slavery of women. Cat Torres was convicted on the 28th of June in Rio de Janeiro. Sorry, I can't talk tonight, guys. Convicted on June the 28th in Rio de Janeiro after being caught in Maine and deported to Brazil, where she was arrested in November 2022. The investigation began when 2 Brazilian women vanished in early 2022, causing the FBI to launch a search in the US based on information that they were living with the wellness influencer. So far, so boring, right? I mean, women go missing every day. Hard to believe the FBI would get involved in it, to be honest. She's, I sound dismissive. I'm mocking the fact that nobody gives a shit. 99 days out of 100. But anyway, women go missing, or these women go missing. These 2 ladies go missing, and the last place that they were heard of or seen was living with this influencer lady, Cat Torres. So we have the crux of it, right? But stick with me, dear listeners, dear reviewers, because this gets weirder. As always, are you ready? It says, Torres, who had millions of followers on Instagram, was convicted of human trafficking and slavery. Charges have also been filed against Torres in relation to a second woman. Torres maintained her innocence from prison. Of course she did. Of course she did. A bit of background now. Torres was crowned Miss Carreras in 2012 and became a successful model before she moved to LA to pursue acting. And she then used her influencer lifestyle to gain millions of followers, guys. She later worked as a model in Paris and was photographed partying with DiCaprio. So she's having a good life. She's a nice-looking woman, goes to LA, wants to be an actress, becomes a model instead, parties with Leo. Good for you, girl. But now more than 20 women have come forward to share their harrowing experiences of living with Torres, including Desiree Freitas and Leticia Maya Alvarenga, the 2 women who sparked the FBI search. The pair, along with a third woman, were recruited by Torres. This is where it starts to get a bit funky, isn't it? It's like recruited by her, you know? There's something to that, isn't there? The pair, along with a third woman, were recruited by Torres and introduced as the Witch Clan to her followers. As the Witch Clan! So she recruits them in all of her Instagram. Yeah, we're the Witch Clan. That's how she's introducing them. I mean, that doesn't sound suspicious at all, does it? Hey, do you want to come and live with me, like, rent-free? In my mansion? It's just free. No strings attached. Just a totally selfless, philanthropic gesture. It's not suspicious at all. Just come. It's not a cult, is it? No! No. No, don't even say that word. But you just let people come and live with you all together in one big happy family in your mansion? Yeah, sure. What's weird about that? Do you have a name for this family that all live together? Yeah, the Witch Clan. I'm out. That is how that conversation should have gone. No, just all the no's. This is setting off red flags. Left, right, and centre. Thank you for your philanthropic gesture, Cat. I am respectfully declining. I mean, it amazes me in this day and age that people don't just knee-jerk decline that stuff, just straight out the gate, you know? You know, it's like, hey, you're an aspiring, attractive actress who is broke and desperate, right? Want to come and join the Witch Clan? Well, is that a theatre troupe? You know, where I could get more training to become a better actor, or you know, or is it an agency? Do I get agency represent? You know, somebody like CAA or United? You know, a theatre troupe or an agency. If it's one of those two components, because they seem like necessary, essential components that I need to get on board. If what I'm looking to achieve, if my overarching goal is to become a successful Hollywood actress, they seem like essential components. But I don't know if I need to be part of a witch clan. You batty old cunt. What the fuck is wrong with you? No, I don't want to join your clan of witches. I mean, look, this is the thing, right? I think women are so traumatized, right? Rightly, by the way, by the dangers and hazards and risks that men expose them to, that men visit upon them, right? I mean, like, what were we talking about last on the Friday night show? We talked about like the weak and misogyny, right? Like there was the crossbow murderer guy, the jilted lover who comes back and then slaughters the whole family. There was the Holly Willoughby trial. They're looking to kidnap and, you know, do God knows what to her. And then there was the drive-by dollar store masturbator. Right? Like, all in 1 week. That's what women have to deal with. Every single week, there's stuff like that. I think women are so traumatized by the chaos that we visit upon them that I don't think it ever occurs to them that there's also horrible sociopathic women out there who are looking to exploit them in myriad ways. Anyway, it says Torres would reportedly recruit women to come work for her. In exchange, she offered them a place to stay at her mansion in Austin, Texas, in the Witch Clan, guys, where she promised to help them achieve their dreams. God bless her. But within weeks, many of the women found reality was not what had been promised. It says Freitas said Torres pressured her into working at a local strip club. Well, there you go. There it is. And it says if she did not comply, she would have to repay all the money that Torres had spent on her, which she didn't have because she's broke and she's desperate, right? So that's it. That's the scam, okay? We've established that. You know, you get them to come and live with you for free. They don't have to pay rent. And then you pressure them to work in the sex industry. And then if they don't hand over all the money from the job that you got them, then you charge them for all the food, all the money that you selflessly gifted to them, with gifts and accommodation and food and your car that you probably told them was free because you just like to help up-and-coming young women, right? That's the scam. It says, Freitas was also terrified because Torres had threatened to curse her for not following orders. She threatened to put a curse on her. That was also terrifying, apparently. I mean, is that real? Do we think? Do we think she was actually scared of that? Of having a curse put on her? In this day and age, in the 21st century. It's not like in some, Central African country where witchcraft is still, half believed by most of society or that village or whatever. This is in Texas in 2022. Freitas was terrified because Torres had threatened to curse her for not following orders. If you don't follow my orders, so help me God, I'm going to put a curse on you. I'd be like, and do what? What is this curse going to do to me? You're going to curse my life, are you? Wow, what's that going to look like? Maybe I don't have a job then. Maybe I'm broke and I'm forced to work in the sex industry. Are you sure you didn't do it already? On my way in. Was it part of my initiation into the witch clan? Was it? Did you get it wrong? Did you get a couple of words wrong? Because it feels like I might already be cursed. Cat. They said there were strict house rules at the Austin, Texas mansion. The women were not allowed to speak to each other and they needed Tara's permission to leave their rooms, even to go to the bathroom. Any money they made at their jobs, they handed over to Torres. Well, sure. She says it was very difficult to get out of the situation because she holds your money, one of them said. It was terrifying. I thought something could happen to me because she had all my information, my passport, my driving license. It's textbook cult and control stuff, isn't it? Textbook cult and control. Incidentally, check out my Patreon. Come and join my Binfluencer family. Guys, plenty of space. You're very welcome here. It says one of them was able to leave with the help of an ex-boyfriend, but others were not so lucky. Some of the women were told that they needed to work as prostitutes as punishment. Torres told Freitas she needed to switch from working at a strip club to being a prostitute. When she refused, Torres took her to a gun range, which scared her into giving in. It says they had to make $3,000 a night or they could no longer stay at the house. They're out in the street. And now I read this story and it sounds absolutely harrowing. It really does. It must have been terrifying for those girls, for those ladies caught up in it. But also what I'm wondering is I'm thinking about the murderous irony of all this, how many of these women thought what they were joining was some sort of girl boss, sisters are doing it for themselves summer camp or something before they realised that this bitch is like a fucking Texas Ghislaine. That is what's happened here, isn't it? It's like, yeah, come live with me. Come live, it's sisters together. You can live rent-free. In my mansion, you can focus on your modeling and your acting career. You could go to auditions. It's sisters together, feminism ultra. And then as soon as they get their flight case and Ugg boots into the closet, boom! Basically, it's misogyny again. It's all the worst parts of rapey, controlly misogyny, but with a new sheen. That's what it is. It's like, this bitch is marketing's acceptable face of misogyny. That's what she is. It's the exact same components. It's trafficking, control, sexploitation, just with a fucking cover girl on the front of it. Just a cover girl boss selling it to you instead. Instead of a Weinstein, instead of an Epstein. To make it look good for you. Oh, she looks pretty. She looks so happy. I'll go and live with her. No, don't walk through the door. Do not walk through it. Turn around, Tabitha. Get your ass back in the airport taxi. You're going home, okay? I mean, really, it's equality, I suppose, in a weird sort of warped, contorted way. You know, we've had decades, we've had centuries of men luring women in, you know, with their talk of good jobs and a big house and, you know, holidays. Yeah, come and live with me. Oh, your life will be great. Just endless misrepresentations and outright lies, and then eventually they find out that it was all bullshit, and then they have to have sex with somebody that they don't want to night after night. We've had so many male cult leaders, haven't we? So many male casting couch guys. Male record producers was a big one a couple of years ago. It's like, so how bad do you want to be a star, sugar tits? You know, it's all of that stuff. For decades, for centuries. It's been men. It's always been men. And now, you know, what I'm saying is maybe this is equality. You know? Cometh the hour, cometh the woman. This enterprising young lady is addressing that inequality. That's what I'm saying. Why shouldn't you have exploitative, sociopathic sex traffickers who are women? It's not just men who can do that. She's evening the scales. Don't tell these women what they can't do. Should we get into some party politics? Should we talk about some actual, you know, Westminster stuff? Let's get into it because I've got another weird news story that I want to get into in due course, but I want to do something political, you know, following the election. So, what's happened since the election results, guys? Well, we've had Starmer and Streeting and Rayner getting out to work, haven't we? We've had, who else has been on the news rounds? We've had David Lammy. He's been in trouble, actually, hasn't he? Like, the last couple of days. He's had his old anti-Trump tweets dug out. I don't know if you saw that. People are like, yeah, you called Trump a disgusting and corrupt sociopathic rapist, or, you know, whatever. And they're like, you're the foreign secretary, Mr. Lammy. Is that appropriate sort of language? Accusations, allegations. Is that appropriate for a foreign secretary to call Donald Trump a sociopathic and corrupt rapist? And I saw this news report and I was like, you know, okay, two things, right? So, A, he didn't say it when he was foreign secretary, did he? It's like years earlier when he was just an MP. Maybe he was in the shadow cabinet. I don't know if he was just venting. But it was a few years ago that he said it, right? And it's like, you know, aren't you lot the same people that burst into tears when we judge old sitcoms by today's standards, right? Some things have changed in the last 10, 20 years or however long. Well, it's not fair if you judge things that happened a few years ago by today's standards. Well, okay. How about some of that here then? You know, if there's an episode of Fawlty Towers or Some Mothers Do Have 'Em where it's got some slightly, you know, off-centre, colourful language or terminology, it was said years ago. Just let it go. But now it's David Lammy and his old tweets from years ago. Now it's like, oh, well, he should have known then, Aid. He should have known then that he might end up becoming Foreign Secretary now. That's the problem here. His lack of clairvoyance is worse than anything Donald Trump has ever said or done. That's really what we're talking about here. He should have known, Aid. And B, the second thing is, right, B, no, it's not inappropriate for him to say that stuff, to call him a sociopathic, corrupt, a rapist, or whatever it was that I don't even know what it was that he called him. But that cannot possibly be inappropriate by virtue of the simple fact that all of that is 100% accurate. It's like, it was right. How can that not be appropriate to say what is the truth? Like, it doesn't get less accurate because it's become more politically and diplomatically inconvenient, you fucking morons. Like, it's so weird right now, isn't it? The geopolitical climate from all this, you know, recent events. Like David Lammy said some things that were legally and socially true. That's what he's done. And there's no coming back from it. It seems. People are going, yes, Keir Starmer has to sack David Lammy. Oh, wow, okay. So David Lammy said some things that were accurate, and there's no coming back from it. Donald Trump was found liable for corporate fraud, the insurrection, and rape. And yet everyone's like, oh, come on now, son. Come on. Pointing that out to everybody again and again. Frankly, it's unbecoming, Aid. It's not appropriate. Like, we're inhabiting such a Twilight Zone space right now in politics. Where just because that fat fuck got shot, right, suddenly nobody can or can have, historically, have uttered a bad word about him. It's absolutely balmy. Like, really? Really, guys? You know, he gets shot in the ear, and that's it. Clean slate. Treated like the Messiah. Donald is risen. Isn't it? God stepped in his way and saved him. He saved Donald from certain death. It was God's will that Donald Trump would be saved in that last split second. Donald is risen. I mean, how long do you think it'll be, guys, before his culty following, you know, the ones that say that he's a man of, Donald is a changed man. He's a man of God. When was the last time he went to church? Well, now, let's not get into the details, son. You know, and you've got the MAGA lot. It's like a church. This cult-like following. It's got its own prophets, MAGA prophets, that go on TV and spread the word of Donald. Pretty much, right? And all the evangelicals that support him. I mean, how long until they all go crazy and start a church of MAGA, and like one of the ceremonies that they do in it will be to cut off their own ears to absolve themselves of their sins? Like, that, doesn't that sound weirdly actually quite believable that could happen? Like, it can't be that long now, guys. You know, that is how weird, deep, and gaudy this thing has become. You know, I mean, we joke about cults when we're talking about, you know, influencers and Instagram and models that party with DiCaprio and invite you to come and live in their mansion and stuff. But basically, right, America is now ostensibly Donald's very own witch clan. Like, that's where it's at. You know, it's going to become a culty church. It truly is. You're going to have red cap, tobacco gnashing lunatics entering the confession box in the Church of MAGA. They're going to have to divulge their secrets to the pastor, to the priest, to the prophet, whatever. They're going to be like, Father, forgive me, for I have sinned. I once paid for sex with a young actress come witch down in Texas. And I'm so ashamed, Father. Please forgive me. And the priest is going to be like, you know I'm going to have to take an ear off you for this shit, son. It is the Lord Donald's way. And the guy's going to be like, I know, Father, I know. And the priest is going to be like, now, what did you do with the young lady, son? Going to be like, was it at least an ex-porn star? Did you use campaign finance money to pay an ex-porn star for said intimacy? Because weirdly, that might actually be okay. No, Pastor, no. I'm afraid she was an actress, and but also a witch. And it was my Christmas bonus. I was supposed to be spending it on my son for Christmas gifts, and the fornication was not holy, Pastor. I came right in the well, you know, Pastor. Oh well, Lord, forgive me. No, I do not, son. You came right in her mouth. No, Father, no, down there, further down. So where are you talking? You talking about the thing that you grab them by, or the sin quim? Oh, I'm ashamed. It was the latter. It was the latter. It was the sin quim. Fuck. No. What in the blazes, son? I'm gonna have to take both your ears, lest the devil himself take you into eternal damnation with Hunter Biden and 72 drag queens in the afterlife, son. What is actually wrong with me? What else have we had going on this week? What else has been going on in party politics? We've had Sunak talking to Ian Duncan Smith, haven't we? About him maybe taking over as acting leader of the Conservative Party. That's going to free up Sunak so he can get over to Silicon Valley in time for the school year to start with his two little girls. We've had the Greens saying they're going to put pressure on Labour to be more radical. Don't know if you heard about that. I mean, I'm all for the Greens, right? And I hope they can apply pressure. I hope they do get some of their ideas over the line. I truly do. But I'm not sure 4 MPs are going to be in much of a position to apply pressure to anyone. To make anybody more radical. I've got this horrible feeling that having 4 MPs trying to go up against 480 or whatever it is, they might come away them feeling more deflated than they're able to radicalise other party members. That is a real fear for me. Like, yeah, we're going to apply pressure on Labour. Are you really though? No, actually, I'm feeling pretty crestfallen about the whole thing, Aid. Like, I hope I'm wrong, but I just cannot imagine that the Greens are going to be able to apply much pressure really to anyone with 4 MPs. I just because didn't the DUP, they had about 10 MPs before with Theresa May. Do you remember that? The hung parliament, she strikes a deal. They had 10 MPs. They were a key cog, a key component to her being able to form that very, bare majority. Those 10 MPs, right? That's over double what the Greens have, right? And May had 150 seats fewer than Labour do. So arguably, the DUP were in a stronger, much stronger position than the Greens are now, right? And the DUP found that they had such sway and say in negotiations with May that she managed to convince them to support a Brexit that rendered Northern Ireland a separated territory to the rest of Britain, which is basically against the DUP's entire thing. Their entire modus operandi is that, yeah, so you're going to be separate to the rest of Britain. Oh, right, okay. So, I mean, we helped you form this majority. Like, we have some say in this. No, I'm afraid not. Not with your 10 MPs. Right. I mean, is there nothing you can do to make this easier for us, for Northern Ireland, for our political reputation? Well, no. Like we've tried. What have you tried? Have you actually tried? No. Well, if you let me finish, right? We tried to try, but we didn't get very far. So we haven't really tried it. Anyway, there's nothing that we could do. You just got to fucking suck on it, basically, with your 10 MPs. Now, the Green Party are coming in with less than half of that, and Labour have like 150 seats more than May had then, in a much stronger position. And the Greens are like, yeah, we're going to apply some pressure on Labour. Are you? Are you really? But let me explain what's actually going to happen here. You guys are going to apply pressure in the same way that a Sempura kitten is going to apply pressure in the middle of a dogfighting ring. That's what you're going to do. It's like, guys, I've got some ideas. I think we should all do that. Wow, that got ugly quickly. Has anyone got a mop and bucket? Because it's a lot of mess there. I mean, just to emphasize, right? I hope they do get their policies over the line. I wish them the best. I'm fully supportive of the Green Party. I just think there's a space for achievable goals, is what I'm saying. We're going to apply pressure to Labour and make them more radical. You're not. I think we've had enough of political fantasies by now. You're not going to apply pressure to Labour and make them more radical. So you're not going to apply pressure. You're going to pick up the phone. You're going to have a conversation with their energy, with Ed Miliband. You might have a conversation. You're not applying pressure. They're not getting more radical. They might just take the call. It's a step. It is a step in the right direction. But I wish them the best. I hope they are more successful than my cynicism would lead you to believe that they might be. Okay, so last story I wanted to talk about tonight. Here it is, the headline in The Independent. It says, man defended after he refuses to help friends who didn't invite him to their wedding. This is a doozy, guys. I'm not going to go right through the article now because we're running a little bit short on time, but I'm just going to give you the crux of it, right? On Reddit, there is a subreddit, right? I assume that you all know what Reddit is. There is a subreddit called Am I the Asshole, right? And people put their stories on there where they're looking for reassurance, like, am I being unreasonable here? Am I the asshole? And this guy puts the story up, and basically he says this. He says, I'm part of a wide circle of friends. I'm the only homosexual in that group. He says, I've got these two friends. They are a couple. I've known the guy for 10 years, he says, and he's known his, now wife for 8 of those years, I think. And so he's pretty good mates with the guy, and he's relatively good mates with a woman as well, apparently. And he says, I've gone above and beyond for them. It's not just like a sort of social thing where I see them, once a month or whatever. He said, I've been a good friend to them, if I do say so myself, sort of thing. He says, there was a time that he had to go around and check on their house when they were away. He said that he rescued the lady, the wife, from a snowstorm because his car is a bit more powerful and his car could handle it, kind of thing. There was another thing as well where he'd stepped up and he'd gone to help them. Oh, he'd picked up the wife from the airport as well. And so, to be fair to him, it sounds like he has earned his stripes. He's earned the right to call himself one of their best friends, you would think. And then what happened is he found out from his wider circle of friends that they were getting married, right? And he's sort of like, well, we're good friends, right? I mean, I'm sure my invite will be along any moment now. And he waits, and he waits. And this whole time, like, he's doing favours for them, he's helping them out, he's going for drinks and stuff, but he doesn't really broach it. And then the wedding comes and goes, and he doesn't go to it, to these people he's known the guy for 10 years. And then, here's where it gets wild, right? Is the guy then phones him up, as he normally would do, maybe for a chat, to go for beers or whatever. And he asks him again if he would mind coming over and, like, house sitting, like checking on his house, feeding the cats while they're away, doing like little, chore like things for him. Would you mind coming over to our house, watering the plants, looking after the cat? Would that be okay? That sort of thing. And then on this occasion, the guy actually pushes back. And fair play to him, for having the self-respect to do that. He says, like, I'm going to be really courteous. I'm not being nasty or mean-spirited or anything. But I found it quite hurtful that out of all of our friends, I was the only one that you didn't invite to your wedding. And I think I've been a pretty good friend to you over the last decade, and to your wife. Picking her up from the airport, rescuing her in a snowstorm. I think I've been kind of there for you. And you didn't even tell me. You didn't, and I'm fully empathizing with it. I'm like, this is fucking weird. Like, there has to be more to this. Because if this was me, right, if me and my missus were getting married, and there was somebody that I didn't have space for, I would pick up the phone to them. I would be like, I am so sorry to have to do this to you, but we are just out of tables and out of, and I can't find another venue, and I'm so embarrassed about it, and I'm so sorry, but please, would you come over to ours, and we will just do you a fantastic meal, and you could, I would make such a fuss that I would be so over-apologetic, because I'd be embarrassed, I'd feel bad for them. But when he phones this guy and he says, I was really hurt. You didn't invite me, and you didn't even, phone me or tell me, or I had to find out from all of our other friends that you were getting married. And then his friend goes like, right, okay. And I think he sort of loosely apologized. Anyway, then he says, so, look, I wish you and your wife the very best. I'm not aggrieved by it. I get that, you must have had a capacity issue or something. He goes, I wish you the best and everything, but, we could still go for beers. He's really cool about it, very gracious. He goes, we can still go for beers, we can still hang out, and that's, it's fine. But I feel weird about, doing these errands for you. Checking in on your house, feeding your cats for you. Oh, is there anything else I could do for you, master? It's a bit like that. It's a bit pathetic if you keep going back, doing favours for people that obviously don't respect you. So he pushes back and he goes, look, so that's basically the end of me doing favours for you. But it's like, I hope we can still be friends. So the guy hangs up, and then he talks to his wife, and then the wife phones this guy back. And she goes, he was really upset by what you just said to him. Apparently this is something to do with, you not being invited, but it's not fair to punish him because I'm the one that had the final say on the invites and who we had capacity for. And it really was just a capacity issue, John. I don't know if his name is John, but you get the idea, right? And so then he comes away and he's just like, am I being the arsehole here? And I'm reading this going, no, you're not. You are being perfectly right about this. And I really wanted to share this with you because I think it shines such an interesting light on people's entitlement. Would you mind just coming over to my house And could you water the plants? And could you, like, why does it not occur to them that they could, why couldn't they ask one of their other friends who they value so infinitely more? Because this is the thing, right? She says, you know, a lot of our other friends, you're gay, and a lot of our other friends have all got partners, and so that filled up a lot of the spaces. So that's where it came from. But then he also says, like, that they've made mentions before about his lifestyle and about how he might want to, like, wind it down, and it's not, like, I'm getting, like, sniffs, like vapors of homophobia to it. Anyway, what do you guys think about it? Do you think, like, it's fascinating, isn't it? Because on the one hand, you've got the happy couple. They're, you know, fully okay to invite whoever they want to their wedding. Obviously they are. But doesn't it sound like there's something else to that? Like, why wouldn't you phone the guy and just say, oh, we've run out of space. I'm so sorry. Come over, please. We'll cook you a meal, etc. How is it that he's not invited, but all of the other people's partners are? Like, the whole thing is just, oh, there's something to, I just want to scratch beneath it. You know, there's some sort of popcorny, like, undercurrent. Like, this is the story, but underneath the story is going to be some other horrible story about the time that this guy got drunk and made a tit out of himself, and then the wife was like, well, he's not coming to the wedding. Like, it's going to be something like that, isn't it? Anyway, look, guys, I'm going to have to go. I got to run inside, check on the kids, the usual. I will be back on Friday night for the Friday night live show. If you've not tuned in for one of those yet, it's a riot. It's 7:30 every Friday night on YouTube. There's the live chat. We got all the Patreons, all the YouTube community members jump in there. By the way, if you haven't jumped on the Patreon yet and you want episodes of the podcast 2 days before everybody else, you know, there's a 2-day delay between Patreons and YouTube community people hearing this stuff, and then the rest of you. If you want your content topical and instant, then jump on the Patreon or YouTube's community thing. Very easy. There should be, if you're watching this on YouTube, there should be like 3 dots. You can just tap it. Then there should be like join, or maybe the join buttons for, I don't know. But yeah, you get episodes of the podcast 2 days early. You can jump in the Discord chat. I always jump in there after the Friday night live show. I'm in there most days. I usually say hello. And we all talk about life, love, and the universe, and politics, and we put the world to rights. There's in-person meetups. I just did another one in Brick Lane the other week. I met Dickie Bo. What's up, Bo? I met Diz Tract. What's up, Diz? You get first dibs on like live things. Like I did a solo gig in Shoreditch last year. I've done a couple of gigs with Danny Price, Super Tansky. There was the Glastonbury thing. There's loads of stuff. Like if you want to get involved in it, honestly, jump on the Patreon, jump on the YouTube community. It's a good laugh, man. And it starts at like £3 a month, so, you know, what the fuck's that, right? Right, that's it. I gotta go. Take care of yourselves. Keep it booge. Keep it Binfluencer. And I am out this motherfucker!